to the wastewater treatment plant. And then Zone 7, which is the one with the fewest lots on it. And it's kind of removed from the other ones, whereas 1, 2, and 3 were grouped, 4, 5, and 6 were grouped. This one is kind of all by itself down on the bottom. And looking at the costs associated with this, so we have the first 9 years shown on your screen now, and your total for the first 9 years would be about $39 million. For the second batch, so the next 4 sequences, we would have another $43 million, and the total for 20 years, if these were to be implemented in this process, could potentially be almost $82 million. So we also looked very high level at the wastewater treatment plant to see what these additional flows would do to the wastewater treatment plant, and looking at the rate of these coming online in conjunction with the fact that the city is already doing a master plan and doing an evaluation for the wastewater treatment plant, we determined that with the processes that are already in place and what they're working on, these additional flows would be captured in those upgrades that are underway right now. So where do we go from here? First process would be approving the plan and then selecting the projects. And of course, the biggest thing, or one of the biggest components, is really going to be public outreach, educating the public about the need for this and the benefits for doing this kind of a septic to sewer conversion. And there are benefits to the homeowners, to the environment, and to the local economy by doing this. We are living in an area where water is a central focus. People come here to fish, to boat, to play on the beach, and if we have nice, clear water and we're able to provide that, then it increases our economic development, it helps the tourism, and it increases property values as well. And I do want to thank all of the people and organizations that have partnered. It is definitely a collaborative effort, and it is a very forward-thinking endeavor. Tom?
I just wanted to include in that list, we didn't get their pictures up there. Internally, when we workshopped this, the finance department, Sharon especially, was instrumental in attending the meetings and commenting on the drafts and looking at the math and looking at the cost. Mitchell Austin was invaluable with his input of how things, the growth and the zoning and the mapping, as well as he would read all of the drafts and comment on all the drafts and helped us a lot with the final language. So it truly was in the city a concerted effort by all the departments involved to this point. And I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, and that's very true. It was very involved and very engaging with all of the different departments, and it was great to see. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Howard has something to say. Go ahead.
It is a well-thought-out plan, and I would urge us to accept it. However, we need to disregard the years on the implementation, because knowing what we went through with San Sebastian, that it's obvious that Charlotte Park is the first area, and those dollars that you see, we will have to have those meetings in the event center. So we need to be very cognizant of the fact that we need to take a cautionary approach towards this, because those costs per homeowner, they put in a gravity sewer system in Charlotte Park, you're going to hear from them. So unless we are going to get serious about this, we need to take this step by step. It's a great plan. It's very well thought out. There's a lot of reasoning behind this. But those costs for those homeowners in Charlotte Park, it's high.
One thing on that note, there may be some way we can cover some of that with Economic Development Agency. They like paying for sewer, and the very argument that we would be making it so the Charlotte Harbor would be cleaner, and that's pretty much our lifeblood economically. I think we could make an argument from the standpoint of getting some federal grant to be able to assist it. So that may not be as big a bite. I think there's an argument to be made for that.
And we're going to have to try to get every grant we can,
Yes.
but I'm just, it's a word of caution.
Nancy?
Yeah, I thought that the whole document was really well done. I appreciated the history and the background. It was really very informative. It certainly spells everything out, so that one of the issues that we've had in the past were, residents talking about the effectiveness of the septic system. I've lived with the septic system, but in an area where it works. And here, it's a different topography, so you point that out very clearly. And when I look at the numbers, and the timeframes, I know that Marathon, the whole sewering project at Marathon was actually ordered to be done, and that was 4,000, is it ERUs is the proper term? And it was about $7,500 a piece, but it was vacuum. So I look at the cost numbers that are here and thinking, are they really how realistic are those numbers? Can those numbers come down substantially? I know in the paper this morning, they're talking about the county in the El Jabin area have established an $11,500 number, but they point out that that's just a number.
Right.
So
And-
what
and
number?
they're subsidizing the difference.
Yeah,
And-
so-
And again, we're being conservative, not knowing when we'll bid on these or what the costs will be. And these numbers are high. Two quick points to your comments.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I was surprised at the number of septic tanks. I would not have thought there were that many
Mm-hmm.
in the unincorporated area of part of our system. I knew, and they're growing every day. New ones are going in every day. And the second thing is the cost. Until, as the city manager says often, until we bid it out and we get a contract back, we don't know. But these are good planning numbers for going forward.
I mean, the barrier to entry is significant. So anything we can do, and any kind of grant dollars. Certainly, we don't have the resources to provide any kind of cost, benefit to and throwing in our own dollars toward this. So, but it's something that's going to need to be done. So I think for us to at least get the discussion going. I know what resistance we've had in the past, so I agree with Howard. It's going to take a lot of education, but it's also going to take a lot of discussion as well with our counterparts on the county commission, so that this plan, as we move forward, it really we have support, and we're moving forward collaboratively together, so that it's. I think we need that. So I would move that we approve this, accept this.
Yes.
Whatever, accept
Accept
this.
this.
Accept it.
Yes.
You made a second? Okay, Gary?
Oh, I just wanted to comment, as far as trying to emphasize doing the gravity feed system versus a vacuum system. And you might need a hybrid for some specific issues, but I would caution against a vacuum system because it does have a higher energy cost to actually operate, considerably so. So even though it may have a lower installation cost, and that may look good for the purposes of the bid, I would caution to get the cost down at any cost may not really be wise. And plus, if you're running more energy to run it, that means that it's not environmentally as acceptable because it's going to require some kind of, it's not going to have as many green credits. So I just want to point that out. I think we should also move forward with this.
Yes, this is definitely a step in the right direction. I've been sitting on the Energy Environment Committee for the Florida League for 5 years now, and the sucralose study, I believe we heard 3 years ago or more. So for the people that are interested in the policy issues, the science was already proven. It's just now we have to relay that to the public, so the science disputes, and I think your master plan lays that out of why this is needed. Of course, there's the hurdles of how, when, and how to pay for it, how to do it, which I think you have established the way that we need to do it. May not be the cheapest way to do it, but the most sense for the long term, for what the reasons that you said. That's what the city's used to for however long. How long have we been in the wastewater treatment?
Yeah.
A long time.
100 years.
100 years of proven wastewater experience. So I think, for sure gravity sewer, and like you said, this spells it out for the public and the potential affected homeowners. The county has been successful in gaining some state support, and anything we can do, especially start now, to get that first area, I think everybody realizes, you know, it's right smack dab there, on the waterfront, and it really needs to be done. So if the first step is accepting this, and then, not sure what the next step is, but we definitely need to keep moving it forward.
If you accept it, the next step is for staff to put together a more in-depth financial plan on how to do it. But you need to accept it first.
Well, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously.
All right, we'll get on it.
If I can make a comment? Just looking at the plan, or looking at what's been recommended here, because 1, 2, and 3 are so close together, that would bring 1,340 some ERUs. So I think that could even potentially lower the cost even more.
It can.
So
It
I
can.
think that for us to try to do whatever we can in that regard is prudent.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have, I believe we have recommendation from city officers. Am I
June-
correct on that?
Yep.
Okay.
June 20th, council meeting, we're going to bring to you the Punta Gorda Isles and Bernstow Isles Canal assessment proposals after meeting with the committees. And then on July 3rd, we're going to bring to you the tentative assessments for lot mowing, Punta Gorda Isles, and Bernstow Isles. So you can approve those as tentative assessments on July 3rd after you discuss them on June 20th. And you already know what our indications are, that PGI and BSI, we're going to be asking for an increase in their assessments to help pay for the seawall repairs. But we already presented that a few months ago. So we want to run it by the committees. And then on June 20th, if it's ready, we will be bringing to you the pay plan study and recommendations. And
Are
then-
those recommendations going to be for fiscal year 19? Do you know yet? Or is it staggered? Okay,
Yeah, that's one of them.
okay,
We can stagger, but it's for 19.
okay.
And then on June 20th, if it's ready, it may not be ready, we're going to bring you to the revised scope of the master plan, so you can take a look at a revised scope, if it's ready by the June 20th council meeting to look at, because we eventually want to get that out on the street.
Yes.
Eventually. So that's our game plan. We're sticking to it.
Happy birthday.
You're welcome. I got a pie coming.
All right.
Awesome.
City attorney,
Nothing further, thank you.
city clerk.
Yes, the first item that I have is the Florida League of Cities voting delegate. This is the business meeting that's held at the annual conference. And city council is asked to designate, I know we have 4 members attending. In the past, the mayor has served in that role, but
I'd
this
like
is
to
for your
nominate the
discussion.
mayor.
Thank you. Would you like to be my alternate?
I'll be your alternate. I have been your alternate in
Yeah,
the
and
past.
anybody can attend the meeting, just we have 1 voting delegate. Thank
Very
you.
good.
You're welcome.
Okay. Under boards and committees, starting with vacancies. We have an unexpired term on the Historic Preservation Advisory Board. We have 2 3-year terms on the Building Board. We have 2 3-year terms on the Code Enforcement Board, and 1 3-year term on the Planning Commission. Under nominations, we have a 3-year term on the Bernstow Isles Canal Advisory Committee. We have 3 eligible applicants for nomination.
Nominate all?
Thank you, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Just a few comments before we go into council member comments and citizens' comments. And I would like to announce that I am running for reelection for District 2. I feel like the partnerships that we've been able to build over my years here need to be continued. We have really strengthened our position in Southwest Florida, and I'm very proud of that. It's been a collective effort on all of our behalves. We've secured not only building an RO plant to fix our water quality issues, but we have secured quite a bit of funding to go along with that. We still have a little piece missing that we're gonna work on, but I feel like I would really like to see all of that come to fruition and get our water quality problems solved. I'm very invested in this community. I've lived in PGI for over 20 years, and I really feel like this is my city, and I want to protect and serve it for as long as I can. I also feel like there's other projects on the horizon from the last 1% sales tax committee and the future sales tax committee that I would like to be involved in. So announcing that I am running for reelection. Thank you. And next, we have some housekeeping. June, is it a Wednesday?
27th.
June 27th, we have our business owners workshop. It's from 6 to 8 o'clock at the event center. Anybody can attend. It's an open forum. There will not be a staff presentation. So far, we've just discussed that each speaker will be given 5 minutes to talk. And that's as far as we gotten with the agenda. So that is Wednesday, June 27th. And for those of you who weren't here when I announced the other meeting dates, regular city council meeting will be June 20th, Tuesday, July 3rd with a CRA meeting, Wednesday, July 11th, and then Wednesday, August 22nd with a CRA meeting. And then September, we go back to our regular schedule. Is that it? Okay, council member comments, we'll start with Jaha.
One thing, I want to let everyone know that at Charlotte Behavioral, they actually now have, brain is going, went off a cliff right then. They have walk-in services now. And so if anyone has any needs like that, as opposed to having to schedule your emergency, like you would had to in the past, you actually.
How do you schedule an emergency?
Well,
You don't.
So either you've resolved it by the time you can get your appointment, or you haven't. And so no, they have that, they go from 9 to 3 every day, and that allows people to be able to actually go and have those needs addressed.
That's excellent. Thank you.
So you don't have to show up in a straight
No,
jacket.
you don't.
I'm sorry, that was
It's all good.
Lynn?
nothing further.
Nancy?
No, nothing further, except I would just like to have David, and I have a couple of residents here from Burnstone Meadows, if we could get together after the meeting just to have a discussion, I would appreciate that.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, citizens' comments, any topic, please take this podium to my right, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Ronna James. Okay, I asked a few years ago why we meet at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I can't remember who answered the question, but apparently you used to meet at night, but the city council members would show up drunk. And so I don't know if that was a joke. I don't know if that was true. I have no idea, but that's what I was told. And so they rescheduled it for 9 in the morning, as if the pleasures and joys of mimosas and Bloody Marys went right out the window. I don't know. Anyway, here's what I seriously want to suggest. The time right now prohibits working people from coming to city council meetings. And I heard at this meeting words like inclusive, being fair, and treating citizens equitably. And I know that that's who you are. And I know that you don't want to exclude people whose voices need to be expressed, but you also need to hear what they're thinking. You need to change the time. Working people, maybe they get home, leave work at 5, I don't know. So let's try to make the meetings at 6, 6:30 something, so they can have a bite to eat and show up here. Also, I was a little bit discouraged to hear Ms. Matthews talking about the very exceptional people who live in Punta Gorda Isles who pay 90% of the tax base. But
That's not what I said.
That's how I heard it. And working people, they pay their taxes too. And so anyway, the people who show up here they're mostly retired people just like me. And we can show up in the morning, we can show up at 6 o'clock at night, and we would still have our voices heard. But showing up at 6 o'clock at night gives the working people a chance to express themselves as well. The problem is if you don't do that, right now, it's the time that prevents people from showing up who are at work. If you decide not to do it, it's going to be on you individually who've decided that they aren't worthy of coming to their own city council, and you don't want to do that. The other thing is, please change the comments, the citizens' comments. I've been here for 3 hours now. It would be really nice if you just changed it to the start of the program. So especially if there's working people, they can actually get their comments heard and then get home and get ready for work the next day.
Thank you. Citizens' comments, any topic. My timer is not working over there. It's on 3 hours. So Joe, I got my phone.
This will be real short. Joe Como. Today's June the 6th. It hasn't been mentioned. Today's the anniversary of D-Day. Today's also the anniversary of the assassination of Robert Kennedy. Take a little time today. Remember. Thank you.
Thank you. Citizens' comments, anybody? Seeing nobody rising and moving toward the podium, we are adjourned.